What's up, Falcon fans? This is the recap video where we discuss what happened to the Atlanta Falcons. If you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button or hurt your boy's feelings, well, maybe just a little bit. But also, if you want to do a huge favor for your boy by hitting that subscribe button, it will help the empire grow. So on that note, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the Falcons. Let's start out with the Falcons. So we have to talk about Desmond Ridder first. Was he excellent? No. Was he bad? No. Was he good? Yes. So he had 40 attempts with 26 completions for a grand total of 347 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Of course, he was sacked 3 times. So the good stuff is that him and Drake London have perfect chemistry, with each other. Drake London has 10 receptions for a grand total of 172 receiving yards, no touchdowns. The confidence level is off the chain with those two when they're on perfect harmony and synchronization, my boys. This is what, why the Atlanta Falcons drafted Drake London first wide receiver last year, because of what he can do this year. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those funny things on why a lot of people were complaining, why we didn't get Garrett Wilson, why did we get Chris Olave or some other wide receiver. Look, I like Drake London a lot, and this shows you what the capability he is able to do, right? And I also love the connection with, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Jonnu Smith. Yes, they were both targeted, a lot more, not get the receptions, but, it still shows you that they are very capable weapons for Desmond Ridder at his disposal. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, the reason why I'm not saying this is an excellent game, because there's a lot of throws, especially to Scotty Miller, where they weren't very, let's say, receivable timing, or didn't catch it, even though they probably could have. That type of mentality. Unfortunately, Mac Hollins, I like Mac Hollins a lot, but we're just not using him right, and he's no way near what we thought he would be when he was with the Las Vegas Raiders last season. It seems like a pretty bust free agency so far, and we only have 4 games left. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we need to find a number 2 for Desmond Ridder, at the helm, either in free agency or in the NFL draft. Kadarius Hodge, I like him. He has shown us that he can ball out when he's getting the opportunities. It's just for some reason Desmond Ridder and him just can't find the perfect, synchronization, per se, in that type of sense, if you guys understand me. Like I said previously, I like the Kyle Pitts thing going on, because look, there was no reason to get Kyle Pitts if we're not going to use him right. The whole entire fan base is saying trade him or cut him or whatever you want to do with him, because we're not properly using him at his full disposal. And this is what a little glimpse, hopefully even more going forward, that we can count on Kyle Pitts to make these incredible plays and hopefully change the game way. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, yes, Desmond Ridder has some shaky throws that I wish he kind of not did it, but you know what? He's still learning. Hopefully in year 3, he fully developed into this blossoming quarterback that we all know and love. Hopefully he can accomplish. So now let's talk about the defense side of the ball, because I think that's very interesting. First of all, they shut down Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Those were the things that I thought they couldn't do because of the injuries. But you know what? Chris Godwin is tackled. He did get tackled. He was targeted 11 times, only caught 5 receptions for a grand total of 53 yards and 0 touchdowns. But then Mike Evans, good job on the Atlanta Falcons corners and secondary or safeties, that, he was targeted 6 times, only caught 1 reception for 8 yards. And we all know he's a baller. He can easily get 100 yards, every given Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So good job, on AJ Terrell, but also a very awesome job to Clark Phillip III. I don't think hardly any Falcon fans thought, he was going to show out this game, and it shows that his coverage skills and, his takedowns and making sure that no one gets around him or above him is excellent. Besides that one penalty call, unfortunately, at the very end. And speaking of that, I thought our passing defense was really good in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter until the very end of the drive where Baker Mayfield threw that to that tight end that got them the winning game. But also, I thought the Atlanta Falcons did a pretty good job at not getting penalties more than just 2. So now let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the offensive side first. Now, when it comes to the rushing attack, we only got 96 rushing yards. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to get over 120 plus rushing yards because they have been really bad in stopping the run, especially against the Colts, the 49ers, the Panthers. So for some reason, we just can't, take full advantage again. Arthur Smith, again, he does not take full advantage of the opposing team for some reason, where we could not get it going. We could not, break ways for over 10 rushing yards for some reason. And I just don't know what it is, my boys. Now, obviously, the offensive line not just struggled, but we lost a lot of key factors that we had to give replacements. So I guess, the connections and the chemistry, and for them, Arthur Smith maybe not teaching them boys, I don't know. But to me, it's just unforgivable. You know what I'm saying? And then, number two, oh my God, the turnovers. Yes, that Desmond Ridder interception. Oh my God, so stupid. I don't know why he did it, but then again, even the announcers were saying he didn't see it. But still, don't turn like that. Why? Oh my God, so stupid. One thing I didn't like what Desmond Ridder did. But then, the fumbles galore, twice on Desmond Ridder, even though maybe not his fault. And then, Michael Pruitt fumbles out of bounds. But I understand that, the Atlanta Falcons defense, really offense, was getting struggled when it comes to injuries. 3 offensive linemen out there, really haven't been in sync with Desmond Ridder, and probably with the play calling as well. That kind of shows up. Okay, and then when it comes to the pass rush, obviously, the Atlanta Falcons don't have that Myles Garrett, don't have that TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, Josh Allen, Trey Henderson, Max Crosby, Thibodeau, Floyd, Riddick, Sweats, Gary. I mean, I can name you Parsons. There's multiple guys that have over 10 plus sacks. And who, leads for the Atlanta Falcons, in the rankings when it comes to sack? Arnold Epicadi, but he's ranked number 45 out of all the players, the defenders that have sacks. He has 5.5. So obviously, there's a huge problem with the Atlanta Falcons pass rush. We're not consistently enough getting after the quarterback for my liking. It just shows you that we need that. We need a true number one pass rusher to really affect this defense, and it just shows you the lack of it. And the reason why I'm telling you this, because we have not been doing so hot against top tier offensive line play. We just keep getting dominated all over it. And now the disguising thing for a lot of Falcon fans might not realize, the only reason why we have 20 plus sacks in a lot of games, because we're facing bad offensive linemen like the Commanders that are really terrible, by the way. But I think we had like, at least, if I'm not, mistaken, at least 3 or 4. That was a good chunk. And then, the Jets, they were like ranked 3rd, giving up sacks. They have 40 plus something, and we had like at least 4 as well. So you can understand we double-digit sacks when we're going against bad offensive line. And then, of course, the Panthers, their offensive line, are the ranked number 1 for giving us the most sacks. And then we got like at least 2 sacks of them. So you understand that we do good job against really bad offensive line play, but we do really bad against really good offensive line play. So that's a really of two halves that a lot of people might not realize, and that's a huge problem. It's the lack of creativity trying to get after. But I digress. But let's talk about the last thing, and that is Younghoe Koo. Unfortunately, he missed 2 field goals attempts out of 3. So the first one, bingo. Then the other 2, they are some weird ass, curving whatever situation that just didn't went in. It feels like it should have went in, but unfortunately, it happens to the best of them. Younghoe Koo has been so consistent this whole entire year, but unfortunately today it just wasn't his day. And it just bit us in the butt, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not gonna blame him for this loss. It's just, unfortunately, it just happens to them. Okay, so now let's talk about the Falcons and the Buccaneers. First of all, we got to give credit where credit's due. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers used their weakness to be their success to beat us, because when it comes to the rushing attack, they were almost ranked dead last in total rushing every average per game with less than 50 yards, but they got over 148 total rushing yards on us with 37 carries with 1 touchdown. So they just did a good job on mismatching, checkerboarding, chess piece matches on our asses. Wow, that rhymed. So when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, it's so frustrating to watch this game and realizing you still had a golden opportunity to win this game. With Desmond Ridder and Bijan Robinson in the first quarter, where if that was just a touchdown, 7 points instead of 3. And, those Younghoe Koo field goals kicks to get in, that's 6 points right there. And so there's also a lot of times where we were just given golden opportunities and we just couldn't capitalize on those success. Just like in the previous game in week 7 against them at their place, but the difference is that we won that game, even though we were fumbling like crazy, everything was not going away, but this time it didn't work out and we didn't capitalize on that. So on that note, if you guys lasted this long to the very end of the episode, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch the Falcon content videos. Here's more on the screen if you guys are interested. So what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.